More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. I'm pretty conflicted with this one. Yeah. So the rating that I ended up giving it is either 3.5 or 3.75, but I don't know, because I felt like the first half of the book and the second half of the book were completely different. So I guess we'll start off by telling you what it's about, which also I feel like I can't really tell you what it's about without spoiling anything. I mean, even though the synopsis tells you things, but I feel like, I don't know, I guess I'll tell you what the synopsis says. So it is about this kid named Aaron whose father has recently killed himself, and he has this awesome girlfriend who's going away to art camp soon. But there's this thing that you can have done called the Ledio procedure, or the Ledio procedure, I don't know how to say it, where it suppresses horrible memories that haunt you and make you not be able to live, you know, your day-to-day life normally. And while Aaron's girlfriend is away at this art camp thing, he meets this new friend, Thomas, and starts getting feelings for him and is like, oh, I guess I'm gay. And then Aaron wants to get the Ledio procedure to forget that he's gay. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so the first half of this book I thought was really boring. There was a lot of unimportant stuff happening in the story, like them playing manhunt and suicide. But it wasn't even like interesting manhunt and suicide. It was literally just like giving me, like, you know, a play-by-play of what was happening in their boring game of manhunt and suicide. Like, I don't care. There were a few scenes throughout the boring first half that were good and that I enjoyed and that I thought were interesting, but for the most part I thought the first half was really, really boring and I wanted to stop reading it and never read it ever again. But the reason I kept reading it was because the stuff in the synopsis hadn't happened yet, and I was like, well, I have to at least wait till what the story is actually about starts happening, and the synopsis stuff doesn't start happening until halfway through the book. There were other issues that I had with the plot in the first half that I can't get into without spoiling anything, but there were issues that I had with very specific things happening that I was like, no, just stop it. When the stuff that's talked about in the synopsis started happening, it was getting a little bit more interesting and I was enjoying it more. And then there was this big, giant plot twist. And the plot twist blew my mind. It had just exploded into tiny little pieces. And I called the plot twist before it was revealed, but it was on its way to being revealed, so there's probably a lot of people who called it at the point that I called it at as well. But at first, during the whole introduction of the plot twist, I was confused, and I was like, I don't understand what's happening because of this and that and the stuff from the first half, and it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't line up, and I don't understand. And then I read it a little bit more, and I was like, oh my god, this is what's happening! This is what's happening! And that's what was happening. So I thought that the plot twist was really brilliant and really well done, and it made a lot of the stuff that I didn't like in the first half make sense, and then I liked it a lot, and I really, really appreciated it. It didn't change the fact that the first half was boring, though, unfortunately. I feel like the first half could have been, like, I feel like a lot of the same stuff could have happened, but in a less boring way. So I didn't like the first half at all. Like, if I had to rate the book based on the first half only, it would be like 2 stars. I didn't like it. So the plot twist was revealed and the story continued from there, and it was really good and it was really interesting, and I had like deep feelings for what was happening, and I had very strong opinions for what the characters should be doing. I really, really enjoyed it at this point, and when I was like not quite done it but close to being done, I would say the second half would be totally a 5-star book. But then after finishing it, I feel like maybe 4 or 4.5, because I wasn't a huge fan of the ending. It just felt very, like, flat and dull to me. I also didn't like what happened at the ending. I mean, that's fine, I guess, that's happened, because I guess it's realistic in the story, but it really bothered me. But the way it was written and just the way things were like wrapped up and stuff, I felt it was very dull. And then when I was done reading it, I felt really depressed. And I'm gonna say this book is not more happy than not. It is just not happy. It's not a happy book. There is almost no happy things in this book, and there is a lot of not happy things. So I don't know where this title came from. That more happy than not is said in the book as well, and I don't know where that came from, because it's not more happy than not. It's not. It's not happy. I did feel like the messages that you get throughout this book, though, were very important and very powerful. And that was one of the things that I really liked about the twist. And it was just... I can't tell you the messages without ruining anything, so this is a horrible review. But it had great messages and characters, and it was very thought-provoking, and I feel like it is a very important story. And even though I did not enjoy the first half at all, if you are reading this and you are also not enjoying the first half, I urge you to push through, because it changes and it gets really good and really powerful. That is my strange book review on a book that I had difficulty rating. Overall, I'm very glad that I read it, though.